Let's go to another one. Some people, strangely enough, have said, you know, it'd been better if we had a world with no free creatures. Because free choice, I mean, if that's the thing that allowed us to bring all these evils in, it'd have been better to have a world with no free choice, which is a strange thing to say.
Well, if they mean morally better, then obviously they're in a self-defeating statement, because it can't be morally better to have a non-moral world. A non-moral world isn't moral at all. So to say that no world is better than this world is to say that no moral world is morally better than a moral world.
Yeah, take your illustration of the animals in one world that have cancer, in another world where they do not have cancer. The difference between moral and metaphysical well-being.
It's the difference between, let's say, a human being who's a moral creature having cancer and an animal having cancer. If you have, and there's a difference between an animal not having cancer and an animal having cancer and not having a moral world. For example, a moral world where somebody has cancer, that event has moral significance because it's happening to a moral being. If a non-moral being, like an animal, doesn't have free will, moral responsibility, has cancer, it's not a moral question. It's a physical question. It's not a physically perfect world, but you can't say it's morally imperfect just because it's physically less than perfect.
Yeah, in the one world where he doesn't have cancer, he would be better physically, but not morally, because there's no morals involved, okay?
Precisely.
But then take this over to man. If we said, okay, God, make a man who's perfect and can live 1,000 years, but he doesn't have any choice. And that's a problem, because the higher good is for man to be given the choice. Otherwise, you got a robot.
See, this is a moral problem, and so what they're confusing is moral and physical. You can have a physically perfect world that's morally imperfect, or you can have a physically perfect world that's not at all, because there's no moral free will and no moral choices or moral law. And so what the problem is for theists is to explain how this world is a morally superior world to the other worlds, or how no other world could be morally superior to this, to put it better. And a non-moral world, like no world at all, or a world where there's no free creatures, can't be morally better than anything, because it's not even a moral world.